Hi, welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to look at another tent that I've picked up second hand for not a lot of money. In today's video we're looking at the Lichfield Treklite 200 tent. I picked it up on Facebook for £15. It is used but supposedly in good condition, but I've not taken out the bag yet. I've not had a look at it. I just know that the poles are in there and I'm assuming that the fly sheet and the inner sheet is there as well. So I'll pop the weight up on screen now. It's got a Protex 3000mm hydrostatic head and it has got aluminium poles. Now design wise it's very similar to like the OEX Fox 2. I think it's supposed to be a 2-person tent, but I think it's going to be pretty cramped for that. So yeah, we'll have a look around it. We'll get it pitched. I don't know if it's inner pitch first or outer pitch. I think it's outer pitch. I think it's inner pitch first. So we'll get it pitched, have a look around it, and obviously see what it's like. And then hopefully in the next few weeks I'll be able to take it out for a camp. So we've got a bag of poles, and you'll see that these are pre-shaped to go with the tent. And we do have a little bag of pegs as well. And these appear just to be pretty bog standard, a bit mangled. Looks like just standard aluminium pegs. And someone's obviously had a few issues with getting into the ground. There are like maybe 2 or 3 ones which are straight and usable. But it's not a problem. I have got a spare set of pegs in my bag this time. So we got a nice blue outer. And looks like a black and orange inner with a fair bit of mesh. And I have no idea what this is. What is that? I've never seen anything like it. That's really quite strange. So you can see there's some marks on the bottom, so it definitely has been used. And I can see from the design straight away that it is an inner pitch first. So it should be a nice, quick and easy setup. Tent poles feel absolutely fine. Going together quite nicely. Got a good fit and feel to them as well. Now I did have a look at this tent online after I bought it to see what if it was any good. And it seems to get quite a lot of decent reviews. I think it was reasonably expensive when it was first launched quite a long time ago. But then I think it ended up in Argos for a lot less money eventually. So I've obviously got an Argos tent before with the my Hike Light, my Pro Action Hike Light tent was an Argos special, and that's a pretty decent tent. So that's the inner pitched. Really nice and simple, easy to pitch. As one advantage in pitch tents, I do think they're incredibly easy to pitch. So you can see there's a nice long entrance door across this side from pretty much top to bottom of the tent, but it's only a single entrance, no entrance on this side. Quite a lot of mesh on the design, with a bit of solid over the back and a solid at the head end as well. So the head end would offer you decent protection from the breeze actually. That's quite a nice little feature. But yeah, it's pretty much a bog standard, tried and tested tent design, this one. You'll see loads like it from OPRO, OEX, just loads of companies making a very similar kind of tent. So no real surprises to how it looks and feels, but seems to be reasonable quality, seems to be absolutely fine for £15. I've got no complaints so far. Obviously the pegs are pretty ruined. I don't know what they were doing with those. I don't know if they were trying to pitch this on concrete or not, but that's what it looks like. I've got to assume that this has been placed here to, I don't know, keep the outer from touching the inner. Someone's added that, or maybe it even came with it when it was original. Never seen anything like it on the tent before, but I can kind of see the purpose if the outer was being pushed onto the inner. I can see why you'd want to put something like that there. So little bits of Velcro to put around the poles to keep the fly in position. And then pretty standard, the fly sheet just clips into the allocated clips on each side. there we have it, the Lichfield Treklite 200. Goes up really easily. Lots of ventilation on this top end. So 2 little corner vents and a big vent here, and they are held up by internal bits that you Velcro on. So actually quite a good airflow. Looks a decent width. Very similar in shape and design as the OEX Fox 2, the Audi Adventure Ridge tent, which I also own, and just loads of other ones which you'll see like this. So pretty low profile, decent width, certainly the top end, but narrows at the bottom, which is why a lot of these tents, they say they're for 2 people, but ideally really it's a 1-person tent. But in fairness, it packs down pretty small, it's reasonably light, so I don't think it's overkill for a 2-person tent. Obviously not a particularly stealthy colour. The fly sheet all looks in good condition. Doesn't look very faded, or the logos and stuff don't look faded, so I can't see it being used that much. Obviously whoever pitched it just mangled the pegs, but there is the exact amount of right pegs, so they might have mangled them, but they did put them all back in the bag. So no, I'm really impressed with it so far. Obviously being this kind of design, as long as you're pitching the bottom end into the wind, it should really hold up well to that. And there are some little vents at the bottom as well, so there should be a reasonably good airflow through the tent to reduce condensation. But with these big vents at this end, you wouldn't want the wind to be hitting this front end too much, because you might start to get rain spattering and coming underneath, even though obviously you can take these, you can move these things out of the way and Velcro those down quite tightly. So it does actually seem a well-designed and well-thought-out tent in that respect, because some of them, obviously, the cheaper tents don't come with these kind of things. They don't Velcro down very well, and you still get rain coming through. But no, so far for 15 quid, really impressed. So let's open the door and see what it's like inside. Just a single zip on the door, which is what you'd expect from a budget tent. But 2 tying back points, which is quite good. And the same for the inner as well. The inner has got a double zip, the outer is just a single. So you can get that out of the way as well. So what you can see from the inside, when I was putting the fly up, the ground sheet is fully seam sealed. The fly sheet is fully seam sealed as well. It's fully tape seamed. The inner does look a little bit manky, like there's a very fine layer of mould or mildew in there. So just as what I did picture before I took it out for a camp. So when I'm at home, I'll just give that a wipe down with a cloth. And I think I can see from that weird kind of sponge thing that it is just keeping the outer from touching the inner too much. It's just providing a nice gap there, because there's no peg out points along that top end really. There's the 2 corner ones, but not a one in the centre. So there's not really anything pulling that out. So if the wind was going to hit from that direction at all, it would just be blowing straight against the front there. So as predicted really, I wouldn't want this as a 2-man tent. It's not enough space for 2 people in here really, in my opinion, not to be comfortable in. And although there's a little bit of porch for your boots and stuff, and maybe a little bit of cooking if you're out the way of the wind, you're not going to want to store too many bags out there. This is a one-person tent. Your bag in this side, yourself on this side, and then I think it's absolutely fine. Got an inner pocket this side and the other side, and there's actually a complete hanging pocket which you can completely take out or leave in, but there's enough room there for mobile phones, that kind of stuff, and a lamp as well, because if you're using this to hang up the basket, you don't have anywhere to hang your lamp from, so you'd have to pop the lamp inside. Yeah, it's pretty low. Like if I was to lie with my feet up at the bottom, I'd be touching the inner. So yeah, and there's not much height at the end where your head's going to be either, because it's really quite a sharp slope at the top. So yeah, not a very particularly generous design. I wonder if it's actually slightly lower than the Audi one. But apart from a little bit mildewy on the ground sheet, which I will just wipe over with a bit of soap and water, the tent looks in really good nick. Looks perfectly usable. Again, £15, so can't have any complaints with that. And you kind of knew what you're going to get with the design, which is the absolutely standard 2-pole little mini tent like this. So yeah, I think it can probably handle a little bit of weather just because of the low profile design. And I think it'd be perfectly comfortable with just one person in. Quite quite a lot of mesh as well, so you could definitely in a picture only in the summer if you wanted to, and just have a nice sort of almost use it as a bivvy, because you'd have plenty of views and you'd have a little bit of protection for your head from a bit of side breeze anyway. So no, all in all, a pretty solid little tent. So I'll give it a wipe down on the inside, and I will then at some point, hopefully the next few weeks, or certainly in the next couple of months, take it out for a proper camp somewhere and just see how it holds up. Maybe I'll try and give it a bit of a rain test as well, because again, it should be perfectly waterproof at 3,000 millimeters. The ground sheet is certainly not the thickest ground sheet I've ever lay on, but seems to be sealed and looks in good nick, so should be absolutely fine. Yeah, for one person, I should be reasonably comfortable in this, but I do think my feet were going to be bashing the top of the bottom of the tent, and my head's going to be bashing this end of the tent by the time I got my my sleep mat in here and stuff. So there we have it. That's a quick look at my latest £15 bargain tent. Again, another Facebook bargain, really good condition, perfectly usable tent. I'd say it can handle a bit of weather. So another example of what you can find used on Facebook and Gumtree and other sites. So along those lines, the next video I'm going to do, I'm currently working on it now. So hopefully, if you're watching this in a few weeks' time, whatever, it will already be out there. So do check it out on my channel. Is I'm going to run down my top 12 budget tents that I've so far found. So that's a mixture of new, it's a mixture of used, and it's going for my less than £100 tents. I think it starts at £80 with my Jack Wolfskin Gospel one, and goes right down to £7.99 for a tent, which is as good as this, if not better than this tent, and is definitely usable in bad weather. You can definitely take it up into the mountains and stuff. £7.99, and that was brand new. So that's going to be a really good video to check out. What I'm also going to do at the end of that video is, after run down all the tents I've found for bargain prices, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I find these bargains. I had a few comments on the channel saying, well, whenever I search on Facebook or look at stuff, all I can find is the massive, 10 kilogram, 20 kilogram family tents and stuff. I don't really see any kind of 1 or 2 man tents. So I've definitely now got a decent tent collection for less than £100. I've got a lot of tents for all sorts of different conditions for, well, a lot of them less than 25 quid, to be honest. So I'm going to do that video next. I'm going to show all of the tents I've got for less than £100, show how good they are, show how capable they are. With most of them, I've already taken them camping. I've already done perhaps summit camps and stuff as well with them. So I've already sort of proved that they can handle different conditions and stuff. So do keep an eye out for that video. So if you are new to the channel watching this video, do subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Do drop the video a like if you've enjoyed it, and do check out my other budget gear. So I've got a whole budget playlist full of little tents like this and bits and pieces I picked up used. And I'm going to get out for a camp soon. A full camp, that's backpack, tent, sleeping bag, sleep mat and sleep pillow, for less than 35 quid. A mixture of new and used gear, and it's really good gear as well. It's good gear, good stuff, good quality items. So I've definitely found an awful lot of bargains, not just tents. I'm talking backpacks, sleeping bags, sleep mats, the whole works, and some really good brands as well. So do check that out. Do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in that video.